save everybody $10 to come here today. My daughter, Bailey Gunter, is a junior here at Penn State, and it is really a great pleasure to be here today. We still have a couple of minutes, so I just figured I'd just entertain you with some side talk. But really, I really want to thank you for coming here today. And we want this session to be very interactive. If you have a question, I will give you the honest, brutal truth. I am 58 years old, and I have a mean jump shot. Probably could help Penn State out. And I used to be a high jumper, which at Lansing High School, I had a school record for about 10 years. I did about 6'6". So I love competition. I love questions. And I see all these nice, eager minds. So I want this to be very interactive. I want you to really, you're investing your time, and I want to make sure that I give you all that I can during this time that we have together. And we have how much time today? 50 minutes. All right. Has anyone joined Toastmasters? 1, 2, 3, 4. My man, tell me about Toastmasters.
It's just about public speaking.
Yeah.
I work for Eagle Lab, so they had like a bunch of meetings throughout the week that you could go to, and it's just you can kind of rank.
That's right. Best investment you could ever make in yourself. It is inexpensive, and the people there really care about you. They really care that they want to help you grow to be your absolute best. If you're in this great school, Penn State University, and Lord knows Penn State has a lot of my money, you want to maximize your parents' investment, and you want to join Toastmasters. Phenomenal group, phenomenal group. What's your name?
John.
John, what's your last name?
Colvin.
Colvin, what's your major?
Supply chain.
Supply chain, all right, okay. Who are you looking to go work for?
I'm working for Amazon.
You're working for Amazon. They have figured it all out. They have figured it all out. I remember back in the 90s when Amazon first started, they just started with books. And I was working for Elsevier at the time. And the gentleman I was reporting to, he said, you got to check out Amazon. They got all these books. And I just said, wait a minute, what happened to Barnes & Noble? Why isn't Barnes & Noble doing this? It took Barnes & Noble 5 years before they established a competing presence, which wasn't nowhere near what Amazon has. So great company. How is the work culture?
Seems pretty good, but I started July, so I don't know.
Okay, okay. How's our time? Okay, all right.
Hello, I'm Trevor Laza. On the Penn State Startup Week Committee. Welcome to Startup Week, everyone. It's Monday. Right now, it's Darrell Gunter with our presentation. He's the president and CEO of Gunter Media Group. Everyone, please welcome Darrell.
Trevor, thank you. Okay, so as I said, this talk, I wanted to be very interactive. Ask me any questions. I want to share with you some of my life experiences. I want to give you some ideas about how you can get started with your blueprint for success for your life. I'm also going to talk about innovation. And what is innovation? I have been so blessed because of my experience that I've had, and we're going to talk about that. So we're going to talk about the introduction and the road that I have traveled. Actually, I'm still traveling. Talk about how do you position yourself for continued growth, getting started, writing your blueprint, demonstrating expertise, innovation, and then we'll have a summary. But keep in mind, ask me a question at any time. Okay, so the road I have and I'm traveling. This is my mom. She passed away last September. 93 years old. She was my first mentor. How many folks know about Atlantic City, New Jersey? Okay, I'm from Atlantic City, New Jersey, on the corner of Ohio and Lincoln Avenue, 701 Ohio Avenue. Gunters Market, that was our family business. I started working in the store at 4 years old. My mom gave me a TV guide route. At the age of 4, I had 4 customers, and she would watch me deliver the TV guide to those 4 customers. I learned so much from my mom. She was my first mentor, and as I went to work for different companies, the advice that I got from my mother was just phenomenal. She stressed 3 things to us always. One, you got to have a quality product. What is a quality product? Can someone answer that question for me? What is a quality product? Somebody? Yes, sir. What's your name?
Brandon.
Brendan. All right. What's a quality product?
I guess it's got to be like one that you believe in, one you believe in the value of.
Exactly. Have you ever had someone to try to sell you a product that you didn't want or wasn't good? Have you experienced that? Someone trying to say something? How does it make you feel? A little uncomfortable. Right. What's your name?
Vic.
Vic. Yeah, it's like, why is this person trying to sell me something I don't want? When you have a quality product, you make no excuses. And that's what we stress at Gunters Market. We had the top brands in our store for our folks to buy. The second thing was presentation. We worked 7:30 to 7:30, 6 days a week, 7:30 a.m., 7:30 p.m. And at the end of the day, and during the day, but definitely at the end of the day, that's where we prepped the store for the next day. All the stock was pulled out to the front in the soda box that we called it, the big walk-in refrigerator with the sodas. We made sure that they were replenished. Floors were swept. Store was pristine. That store opened up at 7:30 sharp every morning, especially when I was in high school trying to hang out a little bit, get in late. I still had to have that store open by 7:30. Presentation. Customer service. My mother, on our sign, Gunters Market, was underneath written, free delivery. I hated that part because I was the delivery guy. Sometimes the neighbors would still give us the tip and say, don't tell your mother. But it was all about customer service. And from there, I went on to work at McDonald's in high school. I sold clothes for Jules Men's Shop, which doesn't exist in Atlantic City anymore, but it was the finest men's clothing store in Atlantic City. Everything that I've done focused on, I got to believe in the product, they got to provide great customer service, and I got to be able to present it well. So, educated at Seton Hall University, Stillman School of Business, graduated '81 with a degree in marketing. Did my graduate work at Lake Forest Graduate School of Management in Illinois. That was an executive MBA, 16 courses. I gave up 2 years of my life because it was 2 courses on Saturday all day, every 10 weeks, but well worth it. Then, when I was working for Reed Elsevier, I was in this class number 2 of their professional executive development program at Oxford University, Green Templeton College. I continued my education at Rutgers, where I went through their Entrepreneurs Pioneers Initiative program. Interesting enough, I have a radio program called Leadership with Darrell, Gunter on WSOU 89.5 FM. Catch the podcast on iTunes U under Seton Hall. And I had the managing director of the program on my radio show, and she said to me, Dr. Ogilvy, she said, so now that you're about to sell, you guys about to sell your company, what are you going to do next? Are you going to go work for corporate, or are you going to go out on your own? I said, I really don't know. She said, well, why don't you come take this course that we have at Rutgers, and then you could be, I really think that we'll both benefit, and then you could become a lecturer for us afterwards. So I did that. And afterwards, now I lecture to the course every year since 2012. Toastmasters, we talked about Toastmasters. Coursera, how many of you are taking any courses on Coursera? Okay. Now, Penn State probably don't want me to tell you this, but it is a great program because you can take any type of course you want for free. And if you want to get a certificate, $75, you get a certificate. And if you look at LinkedIn, oh, wait a minute, I got to ask this question. Please, please. How many of you, okay, who does not have a LinkedIn profile? You guys are awesome. I teach at Seton Hall in the graduate and undergraduate program. In the undergraduate program, my class this semester, out of 21 students, 6 did not have a LinkedIn profile. The other 6 had a profile that was, and then there was a few folks with a great profile. So I'm happy that you guys are doing it. But Coursera, on LinkedIn, you can put your certificate up on Coursera, on your LinkedIn profile, and employers are looking at that. So you want to develop an expertise in other areas, you're able to do that. So I highly recommend you do that. Also, keeps your mind fresh. First career, and there's a chair over here if somebody wants to sit. And feel free to move around, it's okay. You know, you're not interrupting me. Xerox, 1981, selling copiers. In the nation, I was ranked 20th in the nation selling the 2830 copier. That was built by Fuji. Now recently you might have heard that Fuji is about to acquire Xerox, if Carl Icahn doesn't interrupt it. But that's where I started my career. Then I went to work for Dow Jones. How many of you have heard of Factiva? Online information service by Dow Jones? Back in the day it was called Dow Jones News Retrieval. But I sold Newswires and Dow Jones News Retrieval, which is now called Factiva. And this is a resource that we're going to talk about a little bit later, that we all have different areas where we can get information from. And Penn State, believe me, I know Penn State University has great information resources that you want to avail yourself to. We're going to talk about demonstrating expertise. How many of you heard of Elsevier? All right, world's largest scholarly publisher. I was the first managing director they hired in 1996 to build their first organization in their 4 regions. They have 4 regions, the Americas, EMEA. Who knows what EMEA means? Okay, Europe, Middle East, Africa, Asia Pacific, and Japan. I was the first managing director they hired, and I had to build an organization from the ground up in 1996. Believe it or not, scholarly publishing was in print in 1996. So my task there was to not only build the organization, but to convert a marketplace from print to digital, but also put it all under agreement. When I inherited the business, it was $285 million in my region. And I launched Science Direct, and I launched Scopus, and hundreds of other products over the next 11 years. I built that organization up from 0 to 130 FTEs in 5 years, took the business from $285 million to $385 million over the 11 years. Then I went to a small startup called Colexis. Now, we are in the information technology building. I hope somebody knows the word semantic technology. Anybody know what semantic technology is? Okay. Semantic technology is what I like to call high-definition search. It uses ontologies, it uses thesauruses, it uses taxonomies, and it allows you to do a search and find the unique result, and also give you a fingerprint of the search results. Well, no one had ever heard of Colexis, and people thought I had lost my mind because I went to this small company in South Carolina, but I understood the technology, I understood the power of information, and so I launched biomedexperts.com. Now, biomedexperts.com was launched in 2008. It is a professional network of life science researchers. How many of you have ever heard of PubMed? All right. What we did, we met PubMed and created a network out of people who are connected to people based upon their institution, based upon papers they've written together, and also common search terms. We launched that in 2008, and we also launched, that's just a diagram of the network. And then, of course, we pitched the company to Elsevier, and Elsevier acquired us in June of 2010. Then I went to American Institute of Physics, did the same thing, launched something called unify.org, which was a professional network for physicists. And now I'm at Gadget Software. Gadget Software is a virtual streaming mobile content publisher. Right now, how many of you like to read a PDF on your smartphone device? You like to read it? You like to pinch and zoom? All right, okay, all right. You're one out of a few. But what Gadget Software does, Gadget atomizes the information so that you can read information, and you can also layer it with multimedia features such as audio, video, right within the same environment. So it really allows the reader to have a true mobile experience. There's 4 rules when you think about how people are accessing and traversing content on a mobile device that you got to think about. Number 1 is that the user controls the medium. Now, if the user's controlling the medium, they don't have a great experience. Are they going to come back a second time? No. How many times do you go back to a restaurant where you had a bad meal for a second bad meal? You don't go back. The second rule is that you want to limit scrolling. The third rule is that you want to make sure you can search, find, and discover information. The fourth rule is that you want to be able to send and receive notifications. Your generation is phenomenal. This past weekend, I was blown away by all of the marches that were going on around the country, around the world, and how they organized it. And they used their mobile device. And this is very natural to you guys. Okay, I also have been involved with mergers and acquisitions. I've worked with the Carlyle Group, Blackstone, Thomas H. Lee Partners, Summit Partners, and Cowen on a number of acquisitions. How many of you have thinking about a career in investment banking or mergers and acquisitions? Not one person? Okay. It's a lot of money in it. High risk, high return, but good. Okay. So I have this question for you. Whether you're a startup, traditional business, and raising money from friends and family, VC or PE, what is the common denominator each potential investor is looking for in your business plan? Everybody know what a VC is, right? Venture capital, PE, private equity. Who wants to take a stab? Yes, sir. Yes, return on investment. I'm looking for a particular word, but you're spot on. Anyone else?
Potential for success.
Potential for success. What's your name? Stephen. Thanks, Stephen. And what's your name back there? Renaud. Renaud. Okay, Renaud. Thank you. Yep. Anyone else? It's about value. Return on investment. Make sure it's a solid idea. Make sure that it's unique, different. Very, 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 very important for you to challenge yourself. And we're going to talk about some books at the end of this talk that are going to give you some good insights on what you should consider as you are looking to grow your business. How many of you want to start your own business? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. The gentleman over there, the tall gentleman. What's your name? Oscar. Oscar. What type of business you want to do, Oscar?
I don't know, anything with technology.
Anything with technology? Okay. Who else had their hand up? Yes, sir. What's your name?
Seth.
Seth. What type of business you want to do, Seth?
Right now I'm starting a photography multimedia productions company.
Okay.
And hopefully by the end of my career I'll be able to start a security consulting and IT consulting firm.
All right. All right. Cool. Anyone else want to share? The gentleman right there. Yes, sir.
Start an
E-commerce
e-commerce business.
business. What type of e-commerce business?
Something to do along with sharing available capacity and rides.
Okay. 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 Very nice. Very nice. All right. Thank you for sharing. Getting started, your blueprint. Normally, this is like a long course, and I got to make sure I stay on time. I got my Fitbit on. It's giving me everything but the time. Okay. So write your life and business plan. What is your life plan? What is your business plan? When I talk about your life plan, what do you think I mean by that? We know what a business plan is, but what about your life plan? I remember the first day at Xerox Training Center. They call it the XIC TMD, Xerox International Center for Training Management Development. Before you took the success tests, Xerox, by the way they worked back then, and this is before you guys were born in the 80s, early 80s, you would spend 9 weeks in the branch learning about the product and services. And when you get to Leesburg, Virginia, you were there for 2 weeks, if you passed the test. If you didn't pass the test, you went home that afternoon. So it was a lot of pressure. So you made sure you studied. But after you came back that afternoon, they asked you to write out your life plan. Where do you see yourself at the age of 25, at the age of 30, at the age of 35, 40, 45, 50? So at the age of 35, I said, oh yeah, I want to be a vice president of sales, you know. And my instructor said to me, D. Kennedy was his name, he says, why do you shoot so low? He says, you could be CEO. Why shoot so low? So you want to make sure that you set your expectations for yourself that you're comfortable with, but really think big. Think realistic, but think big for that. And so when you think about write your life, your business plan, Where would you like to live? You know, what do you like? How many of you have heard of the book, What Color is My Parachute? Your name, sir? Tim. Have you read it? That guy wrote that book years ago. That book was recommended to me back in 1981. He's still alive, and he updates it every year. It's a great book. It's a book that helps you to self-identify with who you are and what you like, because that's what's important, is that you're doing something that you like, that you enjoy. That's so important. So when you think about, you want to make sure that you're writing your life and your business plan together, because the two have to coexist. I'm going to share something personal with you. Sometimes it really gets me because it really hurt. The first 7 years of Bailey's life, I wasn't there because I was launching Science Direct for Elsevier. I was on the road 100% of the time. I was Elsevier's highest travel expense employee because I was building this business. And one of the reasons why I left is because I could take this job with this company in South Carolina and work out of my home in New Jersey, and I could actually coach Bailey's baseball team, softball team, spend time with her, be the annoying dad. So it's so important. I missed that part because I became too aggressive. If I had done that, I would have made sure I made time for my daughter. We're doing cool now. I mean, you know, she just texts me she needs money. What else is new? You know? So testing your business hypothesis. Ideas are great, but you want to test them. And you want to develop mentors who can help you test your business hypothesis. When I say business hypothesis, what do you think I mean? Someone said it earlier about, you know, does the product work? Is there a market for it? Who are my competitors? What are they charging? How am I going to differentiate myself? How am I going to be better? Very, very important that you do that hard work now. And now you're at one of the greatest institutions in the world, and I've traveled the world. Penn State is phenomenal. I was thrilled when Bailey said she wanted to come to Penn State because I knew she was going to get a quality education with all the resources. So while you're here, make the best of it. Feedback and refine. Having your mentor group, and having a mentor group of your peers, of professors, of independent business people. You know, create your own round table of experts. And if they really care about you, they'll tell you the truth. And they'll tell you in a way which is very, very constructive. You implement your plan, and you're always updating it. It's never, your business plan is never written in stone. You're always reading. You're always understanding all of the different economic environments. How many of you are reading the Wall Street Journal on a regular basis today? Anybody? Can I get one hand? Really? The Wall Street Journal, you gotta read. If you're gonna be in business, you gotta read it. Because there you're gonna build up your own information profile about your gut. Your gut instinct is very good, but you got to give it information so that it can start to weigh different things. Very important. And right now you can get the student rate, which is very good. As I said, develop a mentor network, being a mentor and a mentee. What is a mentee? Everybody knows what a mentor is, but what's a mentee?
When I'm mentoring someone else.
That's right. That's right. That's right. What is the benefits of being a mentor, do you think? Last night on my way here, during my drive, there's a couple folks I mentor, and they needed to talk, and so I have a 3.5-hour drive, and so I could give them some time. The benefit of being a mentor is that when someone you genuinely care about is asking you for advice, that you're going to be very careful and very precise about the advice that they need. You want to make sure that it's constructive, it's helpful, and it's intuitive. When you're a mentee, you have to learn how to take advice and really be honest with yourself about your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and threats. How many have heard of the term Johari's window? What is Johari's window, sir? And what is your name? Yes.
My name's Henry.
Henry, what's Johari's window?
It's like what you know about yourself, what you know about others, and what others know about you, and what they don't know about you.
Close. It's what you don't know about yourself. It's the side of yourself that others see that you don't see. That's right. Very good. All right. Excellent. So when you're a mentor and a mentee, it's a learning process both ways. And I have mentors, and which makes me, I'm a mentee, but I also mentor people as well. The octagon of a balanced life for continued growth. My apologies, I meant to make these squares bigger. I ran out of time. The first one is family. The second one is knowledge and experience. And knowledge and experience, and these slides, thank you for taking notes. You really have made me feel very special. I don't know if he is like, Facebooking, but, but no. But knowledge and experience comes from professional work experience, but also just comes from different activities where you gain experience. Education, and education just doesn't stop here after you graduate from Penn State. Education should always continue, because as soon as you tell yourself that you don't need to learn anymore, your body, your mind shuts down. You always want to have that yearn to learn. As I said, I'm 58 years old. I'm proud of being 58 years old. Because people say, oh, you look like you're 52. I say, oh, thank you. If I give you $10, will you say I'm 48? But you always want to do that. Volunteering and mentoring is so important. When you volunteer, you're giving back. How many of you read the book, The Golden Passport, by Duff McDonald that came out last year? How many of you want to go to Harvard Business School for your MBA? Okay. He wrote a great book about Harvard Business School. It's called The Golden Passport. And he's on my radio program. You can listen to the podcast. And he talked about how Harvard has lost its way because it appears that they're just about the money. They're not about really helping society. Good book to read. Physically fit. You want to make sure that you're physically fit, because you want to make sure that you're always present. You want to make sure that you're getting your proper rest, that you're exercising. Health is very important. Spiritually balanced. I'm not, whatever turns you on, whatever rocks your boat, that's cool. But you want to, whatever that balance is, you want to have that balance. And being involved in your community. Also, making sure that your financial house is in order, of being balanced. If you do these 8 things, at a minimum, you're going to have a pretty good balanced life. As I said, I messed up on the family part back in 1996, which I've corrected. Okay, that's supposed to be demonstrating expertise. I did this on a Mac and I converted over to a PC, but you get it. When we talk about demonstrating expertise, what is demonstrating expertise? And why is it important? Did you raise your hand?
No, but
I appreciate that.
proving that I don't want to say have an expertise, proving that you
Knowledgeable.
have a specialty in,
Yeah.
in a region.
Being knowledgeable. When you're talking to someone, and especially if you're going to a doctor for a particular procedure, you want this doctor to be an expert, right? Exactly. Think about if no matter what business that you're in, you're communicating to someone, you want to communicate clearly to them, you want to communicate truthfully to them, you want to give them information that they can validate. How I made my career at Dow Jones is that I always would come in to meet with my particular clients or prospects, and I always told them something that they didn't know. And anytime I would call them up, oh yeah, Darrell, come on in, we want to talk to you. And you always want to be strategically focused. And when I talk about strategically focused, when you're talking to prospective clients, business, or whoever, what do I mean by being strategically focused? Being strategically focused is being in the present of that client or prospect's mind. You're talking about things that are important to them, that's focusing on their business. Oftentimes, I would know more about the company than the individual that I'm meeting with, simply because they're so focused on doing the job that they were hired to do that they have not looked past or read the annual report, believe it or not. There's a lot of great information in annual reports. This is a sales expertise model that I presented at a conference some years ago. And the beautiful thing is, when I started off in sales, there was no computers. We learned COBOL and Fortran. This was 1981. And when I started to work at Xerox, I had a shoebox with 3x5 cards that I would write my prospects' information on. And I would have it divided up by the number of months. And someone says, come back in April. Well, I'll put that card in April. When April will come around, I will pull that card out. But now, you guys have the most powerful tool in the world. It's in the palm of your hand. And this information, you get information on the government, the world economy, the industry, the company, your competitors, and people. And you have all of these tools you have here at Penn State. So it's a matter of how do you sift through and discern the right information. And that's when you're talking to someone, that's when they're going to say, wow, you know, what's your name? Vic. I met with Vic. Vic was very knowledgeable. He told me some things I didn't know. So Vic's credibility, just what happened to Vic's credibility? What happened? Way up. Goes way up. So your business value, your business hypothesis, it's all about value. It must scream value. The person that you're talking to, they must see the value of what you're doing, what your idea is going to do for them. The product, it has to demonstrate value. The target market, it has to be defined and large. Now, sometimes the target market could be small, but the price for your service could be very high, and that's a good thing too. But for a lot of services is how can this product scale? What is the ultimate, if we did 100% penetration of this product, how much revenue would that be? Because you're not going to get 100%, you're going to shoot for 100%, but you got to figure out how you want to scale this business. The pricing, is it affordable for the target market? Have you priced it accordingly? What are your competitors doing? What are your competitive advantages? Product over the other products. The milestones, time to market. And let me tell you, if you're going to go off into your own business, you're going to get investors, there's something called milestones. And if you don't meet those milestones, it's a tough conversation. It's a tough conversation, and it happens all the time. It's not personal, it's business, it's about the milestones. You've got to have a good answer for that. So you want to make sure that you have defined what these milestones are and feel very confident you're going to achieve them. Okay, I got to talk about innovation real quick before we go. Basically, it's got to solve a problem. If it doesn't solve a problem, it's not an idea. Provides a new opportunity. What is the new opportunity? What is the new role? How many of you have read or heard of the book Blue Ocean Strategies? Okay. The book came out in, I think, 2002, 2003. It's a great read. It's a very, very, very good book. It talks about, you know, going into other areas that other folks didn't. Like what the idea you were talking about, the gentleman there in the sweater. Where you're I don't know if you're selling time, but you're selling bandwidth or whatever you're selling. You're trying to fulfill a need for somebody that needs it. That's huge. It improves the situation. You can take something that's very basic, but you're going to make it better. You're going to allow folks to be more productive, whatever that is, but it has to be defined. Great books and resources. How many of you know David S. Rose? Phenomenal guy, one of the founders of Silicon Alley. He's got these great books out, Angel Investing, the Startup Checklist. I put his picture up there. He also has a site called guts.com where he matches investors with entrepreneurs. He's in New York. And of course, he's been on my radio show twice. Outthink the Competition, phenomenal book. How many of you have heard the book, The Art of War? Sun Tzu. All right, how many of you have read it? Nice. Okay, Outthink the Competition is based upon The Art of War, Sun Tzu. Very nice. The Founder's Dilemma, a real book about case studies about CEOs who have had challenges, who have failed, who have been successful. The Lean Startup, and an oldie but goodie. My sister actually had me read this book back in 69. I'm okay, you okay. It deals with the psychology of people. And when you're in business, or no matter what you're doing, you're always dealing with people and people's personalities. And sometimes the author of this book talks about how people take on the role of the adult, the parent, or the child. And the adult is always the cool thing. But when someone takes on the parent relationship, it's like they're telling you what to do, which is not cool. Or they take on a child, they're like, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do this? But the adult, but it's a very good read, and I use it today, and I still highly recommend it. Okay. Personal professional development is very important. It's ongoing. Build a business that's going to provide a new opportunity, solves a problem, increase productivity, seek innovation and solutions. Always seek innovation. Don't accept the status quo. Seek and give counsel, and listen when someone gives you counsel, and ask, what's the PMI, the pluses, the minuses, the interesting points about what they've said before you respond. So, it is now 1:58. I want to thank you for your time, but I have time for a couple of questions. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Mentorship's probably pretty important. A lot of us at this age probably have like sought out mentors, but at what stage do you think in our professional lives should we start seeking to be like a mentor for someone else? Because I think that's kind of difficult. Like I don't think I'm qualified at this stage.
What year are you in school here?
Pardon?
You're
I'm a senior this
You're a
year.
senior.
Yeah.
Reach out to a freshman. You see a freshman doing something, or someone who has potential, You can start now. In your community, you could do that. I actually mentor people who are older than me as well. The other day, unfortunately, I had to attend a wake for a former colleague. He's in his 70s now. His daughter passed away, giving birth to their grandchild. And I went to the wake, and he was very appreciative of me being there. And he started to tell people all the stories about how I helped him. And that just, I hadn't seen him, since 2007, since I left. So yeah, it happens both ways.
How did you get started in podcasts, and what do you do on your podcast?
Okay, so actually my podcast started at Seton Hall University. You guys listen to WSOU, Hard Rock? That's a radio station. They won the, what's that word? The award, they won the Marconi. And so in 2009, I had an idea to do a radio show, and the president of Seton Hall said, yeah, here, why don't you apply? And I was accepted, and then they started to put the podcasts up. So now, all of my shows are there, and I enjoy it because I get to interview authors, people from different walks of life. I'm always learning from them. Yeah. So all the 208 shows are there. Yeah. Yes, sir.
You mentioned a book earlier that you said helped people find out more about themselves. Could you repeat the title?
Yes. What color is my parachute? Yep. And also, there's another show that's on a podcast, Seton Hall, called Thank God It's Monday. Brother Greg Cellini. His interview of that author is on his podcast. Yes, sir. Yeah, valuation is very tricky because sometimes people fall in love with their own product, and it's hard for them to be objective about that. Again, when you look at a valuation of the company, you got to look at what is the product, what is the size of the target market, is it a unicorn? Everyone has heard the phrase a unicorn. Unicorn are companies that they think automatically have a $1 billion valuation. And so you really got to understand those dynamics. And then, of course, VCs are tough people, And the reason they're tough people because only 1 out of 10 of their investments typically make it. And sometimes a lot of a lot of startups fail, sometimes not to the fault of the founders. It has to do with the product missed its opportunity, it missed its cycle. How many of you have heard of the TV show Halt, Catch Fire? I'm telling you, they did a fabulous job. It was 4 seasons. Stream it, download it, but they go through real case studies of companies that almost made it but didn't make it. You know, so yeah, you just got to be very diligent about it and be very honest and open with yourself. I hope I answered your question. Okay. Yes, sir.
So it seems like you've done a lot of work with a lot of different companies over a couple different industries. What was your decision-making process when you're like, oh, it's time to transition into something else?
So I'll be very honest with you, and this is on live videotape. So I was at Elsevier, and Elsevier is a phenomenally great company. However, at the time they were having a lot of transition at the executive level. Typically, what happens when the new executives come in, they have a charge from the shareholders to do that. And so I survived like 3 regime changes. And the reason why was that my group, the Americas, was #1 for 11 straight years. But my path to move forward was hindered because, you know, I wasn't the CEO's guy, which happens all the time. So I decided that I was going to go out to Calexis. And a true story, this is really funny. So I left Calexis. People thought I had lost my mind. I'm at the ALA, American Library Association meeting, in a 10-by-10 makeup booth, right? Down the hallway was the 2-story Elsevier thing that I built. The CEO, my former boss, comes up to me and just starts laughing. And I said to him, Herman, mark my words, you're going to buy this company. That was June of 2007. Flash forward, it's now September 2009. We're in the Elsevier boardroom in Amsterdam, Calexis. Herman walks in and tells the story, and he says, and here we are. A few months later, Elsevier acquired Calexis. So, yeah, you know. So, I have to get excited about the product or a company that I'm working for. I have to believe in it. If I don't believe in it, I'm sorry, I can't turn on my charm. You know, I'm very genuine that way. So I got to get excited about it, believe it, and know that it's going to make a change. It's going to improve the area. I was just at Penn State University Press today talking to him about Gadget, Patrick Alexander. And he's like, wow, he says, how is it that you're always finding these things that are so unique? I said, I'm not a genius. I'm just blessed and lucky. But also I listen. I said, my intuition says, listen, pay attention to that. Anyone else? Well, I want to thank you for your time today. You've been a great audience. And connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love, how many people in this classroom? About 70, 80 people. I have 9,400 connections on LinkedIn. I'm always networking. I'm always introducing people to people. You need career advice? I'm your guy. And I love to connect with you. Thank you very much.